Welcome. I'm Patricia Sargent, your host for Industry Insiders, the show in which we chat with people who work primarily behind the scenes supporting literature and literacy. On this episode, we're chatting with Latoya Smith, founder of LCS Literary Services. Latoya is an award-winning literary agent and editor. She's a consultant and developmental editor who works with USA Today and New York Times best-selling authors. And, full disclosure, Latoya used to be my editor. Now, suppose a viewer or two are considering a career as a literary agent or an editor. What advice would you give to them?
So I think the best thing is, of course, hands-on experience. If you can get an internship with any company, whether it's an agency or a publisher, I think that is key. Of course, if you're in school and there's a publishing program, take it. If not, you might do like I did. I did the next best thing, which was journalism, because there are going to be some courses there, like copy editing courses, like creative writing courses, what goes into a story. NYU has a fabulous publishing program where they actually teach you manuscript editing. So those type of programs, classes, they're great starting points, but I think hands-on experience is key. Also networking, go to conferences, book signings. Most times agents and editors are there. A lot of times publishers are there. So you don't have to be an author to go to these events. You can be an aspiring publishing professional, meet someone, and as we know, word of mouth gets you everywhere. So if you meet an editor or agent who really likes you and thinks you have a strong personality, that recommendation goes a long way, whether it's within their own company or giving you a referral elsewhere. I think I mentioned to you earlier in the interview that I have quite a few interns that worked with me at LCS Lit and hopefully with Art House going forward, that now have publishing jobs. One is an executive editor at Penguin. Another one works in marketing at Macmillan. Another one is, I think, also at Macmillan. And most recently, one of my Duke interns was being considered for a job at HarperCollins. So, that, again, hands-on experience is nothing like it. And when you start a job, especially within a publisher, you're almost like hitting the ground running because there's always so much to do. So if you have some kind of experience coming in, that's really helpful. If you don't, being an avid reader, and trying to find a job working with the books that that will go a long way. A little story, when I left Terry Woods Publishing and applied for the job at Defina, which is an imprint at Kensington with Karen Thomas, when I interviewed with her, it was crazy because I walked in her office and every book that I had read was on her shelf. And I was like, oh my God, you did this? I was like a kid in the candy store, and she thought it was this thing. But that was a shoo-in for me because I already knew her list. So there was no training where that was concerned because I knew her authors, I had read their books. So obviously I would know how to choose projects for her, in terms of assessing her submissions because I had already read half of the people on her wall.
Wow.
So I think being knowledgeable of the marketplace, trying to get those internships and taking some technical classes will go a long way.
It's like your mother set you up for this success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. And my cousin for sure, because had she not pushed me to call Terry, I may not be here right now.
Yeah, tell them we said thanks. Well, what upcoming releases that you have on your project list are you super excited about?
Yeah, sure. So one project that I'm really, really excited about, which I think I mentioned briefly, I want to say maybe in the first part, is from a good friend of mine, an activist, Kimberly Jones. She did a speech on YouTube actually last year that went viral during the George Floyd protests, and she was like featured on so many news media outlets. And I sold that project to Halt, and it's called How We Can Win. And it really talks about the financial position of Blacks in America and kind of how so many times we've tried to build our own, but have been sabotaged, like Tulsa and those places that were, and Black Wall Street that were burned down. And so how do we win in a rigged game, if you will? How do we move past this sabotage of our, white counterparts and move forward to become financially stable, to have our own, to rebuild our own communities and businesses? So that's one I'm really excited about. Also, one of my clients, Laquette, she has a project coming out, her first women's fiction title coming out with St. Martin's Press, and it's called Vanessa Jarrett's Got a Man. And we actually just saw the cover for that yesterday. I'm not sure if I'll be able to share it with you yet, but it is beautiful. And that series is basically like the Single Moms Club, but for divorcees. And it's about a group of women who come together after going to a very depressing divorce support group, and they create their own club. And the first book is about a woman finally moving on from her divorce, only to have a man show up at her door to tell her that she needs to help him because his sister is about to marry her conniving ex-husband. And she's like, what? Why would I want to help you? So that's one. And then another book that I think I brought up also, and one of the previous parts, is from Gordon Braxton, a very important book called Empowering Black Boys to Challenge Rape Culture. And it really just talks about, stopping it before it starts, to really, address the predatory behaviors, the predatory society that creates, these men, who become sexual predators, and how to kind of stop that in its tracks and spread, to adulthood. And so that's coming out with University of Oxford Press, and I'm just really, really, really excited about that. And then also The Adoption Surprise, the one that I mentioned, from Michelle Lindo Rice, who's writing under Zoe, hold on, let me get this right, Zoe Marie Jackson. And that is her sister inspired romance that's coming out with Love Inspired Harlequin.
Oh, super. Those sound so fabulous. And I love the diverse range of books.
Yes. So I've got some nonfiction in there. I've got some fiction too. Also, there is a story that I'm probably talking about way too early, because I don't even know if we have finalized the title yet. But it's an author that I found in the slush, which is why I say to people, don't poo-poo the slush pile, because there's some gems in there. Crystal Smith Paul wrote this book called Beneath the Boughs. And since the movie Passing has just come out and like everyone's talking about that, this is very similar to that, in that these three sisters, think Kardashians, but Black Kardashians, are left an inheritance, big time inheritance, by a famous white Hollywood actress. And everyone is kind of like, why the heck would this white woman leave these three Black girls her entire estate? And it is just a phenomenal debut novel. And that is also being published by Holt.
Very strong, very powerful. Oh, I can already feel my book budget going, ouch.
Yeah, so it's really exciting. I don't have a pub date for that one yet, but I'm thinking maybe late 22, early 23 for that one.
Well,
so that one's a little further out, but yeah, very excited about it nonetheless.
So am I. Great news. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
Well, we've come to the end of our interrogation, our chat. Is there anything that you would like to say in closing to our viewer readers?
Yeah, definitely. I am very active on social media, so please do, follow me I'm on Facebook under my name. I'm on Instagram at Glam Editor Girl. I'm also on Twitter at Glam Editor _girl. Of course, if you have a project that you think would be right for myself or my team, you can send it to, or I'm sorry, you can find us at arthouselit.com. If you're looking for editorial help, you can catch me at lcsliterary.com. And also, I have a YouTube channel where I offer free advice to authors and publishing professionals called Books, Advice, and Everything Nice. So yeah, feel free to connect with me. I'm always looking to share some kind of advice or information to aspiring authors and publishing professionals. Absolutely.
And also, readers can learn a lot about behind the scenes of the industry and how the books are being brought to them by watching your YouTube channel and following you on social media.
Thank you.
No, thank you. This has been so informative and so exciting. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
My pleasure and honor. And viewer readers, please don't forget to hit subscribe, like, post a comment about this episode, and stay tuned. Catch up with parts 1 and 2, and stay tuned for more industry insiders. Until then, happy reading.